The airport lounge was loud. Rolling suitcases. Boarding calls. People chasing time. Daniel sat quietly. His small daughter, Aina, curled beside him. They didn't look like much. Simple clothes. Tired eyes. But calm. Content. Aina pointed at the large window. "Dad, look. Our plane." Daniel smiled. "Yeah, that's ours." It had taken him months to save for this trip. A small promise. To show her the ocean. Then. Heels clicked. Sharp. Confident. Heads turned. Because she entered like she owned the space. Victoria Hale. A billionaire CEO. Known for control. Precision. And zero tolerance for inconvenience. Her assistant followed closely. Carrying a designer bag. Victoria scanned the lounge. Eyes moving quickly. Judging silently. Then. She stopped. Right in front of Daniel. Her gaze dropped. To the empty seat beside him. Without asking. She gestured. "Put my bag there." Her assistant stepped forward. Daniel didn't move. He looked up calmly. "I'm sorry," he said. "This seat is taken." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "By who?" Daniel glanced at Aina. "My daughter." Aina sat up straight. Holding her little book tighter. Victoria let out a small laugh. "That seat is for my bag," she said. Flat. The lounge quieted slightly. People always noticed. When power spoke. Daniel stayed calm. "And she needs it more," he replied. A beat. The assistant hesitated. Victoria stepped closer. "You don't understand," she said softly. "I don't wait. And I don't adjust." Daniel met her eyes. "And I don't move my child for a bag." Silence. That wasn't defiance. It was principle. And it hit harder. Aina squeezed his hand. Victoria's jaw tightened. Just slightly. Then she smiled. Cold. "Fine," she said. She turned. Sat in the next row. But her eyes stayed on them. Not angry. Interested. Because people rarely said no to her. And even fewer. Did it without fear. Minutes later. Boarding was announced. Passengers lined up. Victoria moved first. Priority lane. Daniel and Aina waited patiently. Their turn came. They stepped onto the plane. Inside. Rows filled quickly. Daniel found their seats. 2 seats. Window and middle. Aina took the window. Eyes shining. Daniel sat beside her. And then. A shadow fell over them. Victoria. She looked at the seat. Then at Daniel. "That one," she said. Pointing to Aina's seat. "That's mine." Daniel frowned slightly. "No," he said calmly. "These are our seats." Victoria showed her boarding pass. Same row. Same number. Confusion spread. A flight attendant stepped in. "Let me check," she said. Moments passed. Her expression changed. "There seems to be an error." Passengers started murmuring. Then. The captain's voice came on. "Ladies and gentlemen. We're experiencing a system issue. This flight will be delayed." A pause. Possibly cancelled. The cabin fell silent. Then chaos. People stood. Phones came out. Voices rose. Victoria exhaled sharply. "This is unacceptable." She turned. already dialing someone. But Daniel stayed seated. Calm. Aina looked up. Dad, are we still going? He smiled gently. We'll get there, he said. No panic. Just certainty. Victoria glanced at him. This time not with annoyance. But curiosity. Because while everyone else reacted, he didn't. And that meant something. Minutes later, an announcement came. The flight has been officially cancelled. Groans filled the cabin. Victoria stood immediately. I need a private alternative. Now. Her assistant rushed. Daniel stood slowly. Took Aina's hand. No rush. No anger. Just movement. Victoria watched him leave. Something about him didn't match the situation. And she noticed. Because for the first time, she wasn't in control. And neither was anyone else. Except maybe him. The terminal was chaos. Passengers crowded the service desks. Voices rising. Phones pressed to ears. Frustration everywhere. Victoria stood near the front. Already ahead of everyone. Her assistant whispering rapidly. Trying to secure a private jet. I want options. Now, Victoria said coldly. But even money couldn't fix everything instantly. Storm warnings. Air traffic restrictions. Everything was delayed. For once. Her influence hit a wall. Across the terminal. Daniel sat quietly on a bench. Aina leaned against him. Half asleep. He wasn't calling anyone. Wasn't arguing. Just waiting. Victoria noticed. Again. Because in a place full of urgency, he carried none. She walked over. He looked up calmly. You're still here, she said. Daniel nodded. So are you. A small pause. She ignored that. You'll be stuck here all night, she said. Maybe, he replied. No complaint. That unsettled her slightly. Why aren't you doing anything, she asked. Daniel glanced at Aina. I am, he said quietly. A pause. I'm making sure she's okay. Victoria followed his gaze. The little girl sleeping peacefully. Despite everything. Something shifted. Just slightly. Her assistant rushed back. Ma'am, the private jet is delayed. Earliest departure, 6 hours. Victoria's jaw tightened. Unacceptable. But reality didn't move for her this time. She looked back at Daniel. You could come with us, she said suddenly. A pause. Daniel blinked. My jet, she added. Faster than waiting here. Aina stirred slightly. Daniel considered. Not tempted. Evaluating. Why? He asked. Victoria hesitated. Just for a second. Because she didn't fully know. Because I can, she said. That was her usual answer. But this time. It sounded empty. Daniel shook his head gently. Thank you, he said. But we'll be fine. Refused. Again. Victoria wasn't used to that.